right, everybody, welcome to another fascinating episode of Dream Driven Destiny, Manifesting Mastery. And I want to, as I've said, just to bring to you just the best of the best of the best of those who are in the field of manifesting and reality creation. And, it is my purpose to help you every step of the way to be, do, have, and experience what it is that you most desire in this lifetime. And one of the things, if you've been following me along, is I take a really different approach to manifesting. And that's why I am so elated to bring to you my friend, Johanna Gardner, because we share such a similar thought in manifesting, and it's the energetics side of that. And my most favorite topic is money. And that's why I really wanted to bring Johanna on to share a little bit and for you guys to join in this conversation about money and manifesting money, because it's so much more than just the affirming. It's so much more than just the feeling it real, because we can feel it real, but there are things that are running below the surface that if we don't address those, they're going to block us every single time. We're like, why, I'm doing all the things, I'm following all the law of attraction principles, why do I keep bumping up against that? So Johanna, first, I would just love for you to introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are and what you're up to in the world with helping people. And then we'll go right into this interesting world of what's going on below the surface.
Well, Darcy, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to share exactly that, right? Our favorite topic. And I was a single mom really early, and I wanted to become a multimillionaire. That was just the simple, wish and want, right? I had spent most of my life traveling all over the world, and I spent a lot of time with multimillionaires and all this kind of money thing. And then also seeing incredible poverty and realized that I realized that it wasn't necessarily going to make everybody happy. But I went on my own journey and ended up here where I'm an intuitive business coach. I use my intuition to help people heal their money story through helping them build their businesses. So that's the short clip of what I do today.
Johanna, let me ask you this first too, because so many people are trying to figure it out and flip the script of going from struggling or bumping up against issues with money. What for you was the shift? What shifted it to just open it wide open? What happened for you where it finally just broke things open for you and things started coming in?
Tenacity, curiosity, just I have this tenacious drive to learn about myself, and I learn about myself through others, right? So I'm just really, really intrigued as to asking the big questions. Why are we here? What are we doing? What is God? And really delving into all of the big questions. And from that, then I'm really, really interested in the topic of money, because it's really not anything to do with the money. It's to do with your value. And so I kind of, because everybody has this survival mechanism and we're all talking about, oh, I need more money to be happier. I need more money to have more time to do the things I want to do. I need more money, blah, blah, blah. And that's just the excuse. But it's really sort of like the label of, no, you're not choosing your life. You're not choosing what you really want. And so for me, it was, like I said, I wanted to become a multimillionaire to provide for my son. And I ended up becoming a real estate investor. And it was that kind of tenacity of, okay, I'm going to just keep doing and doing and doing. But that then, that's a very 3D perspective of just continually doing. And in the last 5 years, that really hasn't worked very well. So I can go into that complete topic. But if you're still in the doing, then just keep doing and doing and doing, and you'll get there. It will open up for you, and things will manifest miraculously. But like I said, I went through this phase where the consistent doing wasn't doing anything.
I got that. And that's one of the things I want to talk about too, is in your, working with clients, where do you feel that people are maybe most stuck? Like what's happening in their world that's creating these blocks and barriers to the having the income, or any income, or the income that they desire, the money that they desire in their life? I mean, I know it's unique to each person, but do you see something that's really common, or that we're doing or not doing, that's creating the blocks for money to come into our lives?
Yeah, it's believing the beliefs, right? So when you believe the belief that you can't have the life that you want, then you're doubting the belief, you're doubting the manifestation of that actually happening. Because like if I asked you the question, do you believe in your parents, or do you know your parents? You know your parents. You don't have to believe in them. You don't have to, because a belief is a doubt, versus the knowing of something. There's just a feeling within you that you just step into the knowing that already is, right? Everything already exists. It's allowing for yourself to experience that. Is the allowance, and you won't do that unless you feel safe, right? So if you're believing a thought that is keeping you safe in comparison to the experience of whatever you think you want, right? You want a bigger house, you want a fancy car, you want to travel all across the world, then you're not going to step into that if it feels unsafe. But when it finally, you just go to this place of, oh, that feels completely safe, and I know it's going to be fine, then you step into it. But in the meantime, you're constantly bombarded with the negative beliefs and the feeling that that's not safe. Because when you change your belief system, you're actually threatening your own life, right? And the days of the tribe, right? If you stood up, that's why people are so absolutely petrified of speaking in front of people, is because they're actually going to present their beliefs, whatever is inside of them. And if the tribe doesn't like that, then the tribe can kick you out, and that's equivalent of death. And so the nervous system has been built to recognize, if you're going to stretch yourself and your environment, the tribe that you're whether it's your friends now or your parents, or and you're going beyond whatever was considered safe or kept you alive, then you have to sort of face the idea of not existing anymore. So it's this constant evolution of dying and then birthing, and then dying and then birthing, and then dying and then birthing, through the evolution of your own belief systems, right? That money is the root of all evil. Well, money doesn't have that power unless you give it that meaning, right? So you're the filter. You're the one that's wearing these glasses and looking through life and determining whether that's a safe path or not. And it's dependent on what's included in these glasses of your belief systems. So,
Oh my God. Right. I've been saying so often how it's that safety piece. It's the safety piece that is, in my experience, has been the kingpin of it all, of anything that we want to experience, because we can get excited, and we can, like I said, we can affirm, we can believe things, or try to, shift our mindset. But deep down, if we don't feel safe the moment that we start to pull outside of what's familiar and what's safe, I mean, it just,
Well, it's your body. Your body has your nervous system, and it's 97% of what we do on an automatic basis, right? So when you first learned how to drive a car, it was difficult because you were training your conscious mind. And then when the conscious mind decides, oh, okay, I've got it, then it puts it all in the subconscious mind, and then it's just locked in there forever. So unless you actually start to work with your subconscious mind, your body is remembering things not only in your brain, your heart, and your gut. So it has this protection mechanism, so you can talk to yourself all day long. But if your body doesn't believe you, then it's not going to allow, it's going to sabotage you in some form or another. And we are always reaching for the highest, greatest excitement. And when we're reaching for the highest, greatest excitement, it's kind of like a pathway, and we have to say, oh, okay, well, it's unknown, and the brain doesn't like unknown. It only understands what it's already experienced. So if it doesn't know what's unknown, it has to have some sense of comfort and trust and faith, and what I say, loving yourself rich. It's like being able to love yourself through the fear, right? That fear is a friend, because it's actually teaching you the boundary at which you're living your life. And if you can just focus and know that you are going to be completely safe and exist on the other side. And the irony is that where is existence, right? It's here right now. And that we have this idea that we have to keep this body together, but the body is an avatar, and it allows for us to experience the taste and the touches and smells and all that stuff. And I believe that every time we come to that precipice of that intensity, of that fear, that's, you're at that tower moment where everything's falling apart in your body, and your nervous system is going, there's something really scary here, even though you're not being attacked by a lion, right? Your body is saying that there's something in your experience that's scary. If you can just breathe and be here in the body, relax the body, allow for your body to say, it's okay. You're okay to feel this. You're allowed to feel this. And then all of a sudden the body comes along, and you're no longer fighting. Just imagine 3 people fighting 97 people. I mean, the odds are against you if you're going to try and move your life into a different experience. And so that's what I'm really fascinated with, is just that constant, okay, I'm going to come up to the edge of my comfort zone and then keep moving forward. And most people just never get there.
yes. So spot on with this, right? Because like you said, it's how the body feels, right? I think for so long we've been learning, like, okay, it's a mindset thing, but right, it's a body thing. It's a body thing, because like you said, energetically, and it's that feeling state, also frequency of I'm afraid, it's not safe. And when we're not feeling that safe, the body energy frequency is resonating out at frequency, pulsating out into the quantum field of not safe. This it's the language of the universe is that we don't have words for. This feeling state, frequency state. Even though the mind is like, no, I can do this. I got this.
Well, a lot of us are going through that ascension. That's what I was referring to earlier, is the 3D, where in the 3D it is very mind orientated. So, we've all watched The Secret, it's very orientated towards having really positive thoughts. And when you're working at a lower, like if you're playing a video game, and the beginning sessions, they're kind of easier, right? The modules are, okay, you have to put this block into this area, and you just kind of learn those maneuvers. And the irony is that this game gets harder and harder the more upper levels you get. So if you're in 3D, you kind of get some freebies. So you are mastering your mind, and the reward system is, like for myself, I had a hotel and I had, multi-million-dollar real estate business. And so I had the reward system of, oh, wow, it can manifest. But then it's like you get to a certain level and the soul wants to evolve, it wants to expand. And it says, oh, okay, we can go to the next level of your mastery. And so we're gonna take away your home, we're gonna take away your husband, we're gonna take all your money, we're gonna take, those are some things where you then have to evolve into your own level of higher mastery, of acknowledging that those things aren't you. They don't define you. They are just an aspect of the reality of what was, but you can't have any attachment to them, because if you do, then you're going to have what you're talking about in terms of that frequency, where you're believing that you are those things. And when you believe that you are those things, then you can't move to the higher level of more love and more light and more bliss and more ease and more grace. And when you get to that level of blissful state, no thing is ever going to match that level of just pure freedom, pure exaltation. And that's where you start to go into what we call the fifth dimensional experience of we're not interested in the thing kind of just comes out of the byproduct of our beingness. And we are no longer spending most of our time doing the doingness. We're spending most of our experience in beingness, because we realize how potent our frequency becomes. And then that's what we're so excited about developing is, okay, so this level of this thing is not necessarily resonating with me. And so then you go back to the baby steps that we've learned early on in our level of mastery to realize, oh, we've got something wrong with our thought process, that when and not necessarily our conscious thought, but our resonance, what were you talking about in terms of your frequency. There's something off that is not allowing you to be in this coherent state where everything is easy and graceful and synchronistic and blissful, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah, exactly that. I love what you said. It's that the field of resonance, of resonance, and being able to expand that field of resonance, raising that resonance. It's been a fascinating shift for me, like you said, kind of like early on, those like early building blocks, like, okay, wow, I can manifest these things. Things show up, oh, that's cool, on a vision board. Okay, oh, cool. Well, I manifested that. But then, it's like you said, it's kind of like evolving and ascending. We become more in tune with the energetic side of us, the non-physical, like who we really are. And then you can hop in here and start playing with the resonance and the frequency, and becoming an observer of you and the observer of the you observing you. Yeah, it gets all out there.
Absolutely. And so we're taking our bodies with us, right? And so what happens in that transitory state between the third dimensional experience of things and doing and all of that stuff, and then moving towards more of a being state, and that being your priority of where you feel your bliss and your happiness. Because ultimately, when you get to this state of samadhi where you're just like zoned out and you're realizing you're one with everything and love is, and you're breathing in, like I've had so many experiences where I'm just breathing in the taste of fruit, and I am so blissed out that I'm just like, wow, this is phenomenal, right? When you get to those states, that's all you want, right? And when you're in the lower experiences of life, you just want the fancy car and the big house, and you're just like, yeah, this is so cool, but you don't realize that there's a higher, more evolved state. And when you get to that thing, that's when the body becomes even more potent and more important, because the resonance and the frequencies of lower thought processes, David Hawkins and this consciousness scale, where and our little 2-year-olds have some shame. Our little 4-year-olds have some guilt about some behaviors. Our 5-year-olds have absolute terror of certain things, and it's all locked in the body. And so the investigation of going deeper and deeper into those subtle frequencies, they can be found not necessarily in our DNA that then connects to our ancestry. And so we're, the full extent of moving towards ascension, and we tie it back to money, because it's always about your value. It's always about the expression of your joy, right? And so we have a lot of belief systems that are all mapped, confusingly with this idea that money brings us happiness. So I always kind of like, that's like gateway of like, oh, if you're interested in this is where we're going. But I'm really interested about helping you align with your own inner happiness. And then, so the more and more you venture into those subtleties that are within your physical form, because we're ascending through the physical form, you become, it's like the pea in the mattress. You're just like, yes, there is something in the way. Something. And I can't find it, right? Like I spend hours and hours sometimes just doing a personal investigation of what is that little tiny tweak of where that stuck belief system is. And you'll find it, because it will get so obvious to your experience, where things are just not falling in line where they could and they should, right?
Yeah, I love that you said that, kind of like the pea and the mattress analogy, because I could get like, you just feel like it's something, like there's some thing, and like you said, it becomes more investigative now. And I think that's really what happens for me now, whereas before, kind of be in beat up mode, or like, oh, what's wrong with me, or what, but it's kind of like, oh, isn't that interesting? Like I'm feeling like this, or this thing is coming up again. It's like, what is that, and then start using the body to like investigate it, because when we can start asking questions, like, where are we feeling that in the body? Like, what is that? What is that? And that's how, for me, this stuff with the guilt came up, like something, because I realized I was running guilt, not just of my own, but even genetically, ancestrally, like of carrying guilt. It doesn't even belong to me. But when we do carry guilt, or we're holding on to guilt, what happens is that the other side of that becomes like a punishment. We don't even realize that we're doing that, but even we can actually energetically, like we can just feel our body, like it's not okay for me to want more. I shouldn't have more. Well, I did this really bad thing, and therefore I'm not deserving. I should not, like, and like the bigger the guilt, the bigger the punishment, the bigger, like I'm not allowed to have that. How dare I want something like that because I did this. And so, for me, that's kind of this past couple of days, like that popped up, and it's like, I could feel it's what is that? And then to go in and investigate it. And then you can, once you can see it, right. And then you can release it. And so that's one of the things I want to ask you, Johanna, because I know you do so much work in this realm, is how do we, number one, and I know it's a much deeper conversation, but just kind of basically, like, how can we create a feeling of, number one, safety, when we're starting to feel like, oh my gosh, and the body wanting to pull us back in, rein us in? what are some ways that we can start feeling safe? And again, I know it's a whole process. And then also, what can we do when a feeling state comes up, where we find one of those little P's? Like, how can we release it?
Um, the most important thing is to just get right here, right now. And that's meditative process of just breathing in and acknowledging, hi, body, how are you? Right? So you're talking to it. And immediately when you do that, you bring yourself back into presence. And then you say to your body, say, oh, I noticed you're feeling kind of off today, or you're feeling this thing, and I'm interested. I'm really intrigued what's going on with you. And so it's like having a conversation with a little child. It's like allowing for yourself to step into the reparenting, because sometimes we didn't have really great parenting, and that's not necessarily against our parents. It's more they were doing the best they could, even sometimes it wasn't so great. But if we can come from that place, it's like that is, and now we're right here, right now, and allowing for that deep conversation with right here, right now, and that immediately brings in that level of safety, and encourages the body to sort of like open up. And then if you can identify at what age this experience may have lodged into your subconscious, then you can, I think it helps with the mind to be more engaged with, oh my gosh, my 2-year-old. And then you can think of a story that perhaps your 2-year-old is holding on to. Like the other day, I had this really enormous awareness that when I was 2 years old, I had an accident and my front tooth came out. And unbeknownst, completely innocent by my parents, but they thought, oh gosh, she's going to be, toothless, gappy, goofy, and they had this sort of like dismissive idea of what that might mean to me. And of course, at 2 years old, the body's like absolutely terrified that they're going to be isolated and potentially killed. So it's like, oh, I should be scared of having this tooth missing, and therefore I should not be seen by anybody. Wow, right? And then just the floodgates come through, because that is just so not true. But the rewiring of the subconscious so that it can be in coherence with the neural pathways of your brain, to open it up to the truth of that is not true. The truth is that you're beautiful and perfect and amazing and so loving. So it's this process of just take a step, just take a deep breath and say, I'm here for you. I'm here for you right now. And then going on that investigative journey, allowing for whatever needs to come up, and feeling strong enough and more powerful enough within your own self not to abandon yourself, right? Because that's what self-love is we have this protection mechanism where we're going to abandon ourselves. We're going to cut ourselves off. We're going to dismiss, because we are too afraid of feeling that feeling. But when we get into bravery and this really courage state, we feel it and then we integrate it. It's not we get rid of it. We just absorb it into the wholeness of who we are, and then we naturally just expand into more love and more light, and then we have more energy to bring in whatever we're choosing to bring in. So
Yes.
that's the benefit of the work, is when you get to really feel the truth of what's holding you back, then you just have more energy for more love, more light, and more ease, and more grace, and more synchronicities, and more magic.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And that reminds me, one of my practices in doing just what you shared, when I see it come up, for example, like this guilt that I had with a pet, is I can see, that age, but then I ask, what do you need? And how would love respond right now? How would love respond to this right now? And then you just listen, and you can almost just feel like that, just energetic, just lovingness and comfort, of like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, a lot of times I when I work with myself, but then also with clients, and I ask them to pick an object, right? Maybe it's a crystal, maybe it's a pillow, maybe it's an item, and then what I'll invite them to do is I want you to imagine that thing represents the person or the pet that they absolutely love, and they'll invoke the feeling of love within their body, and it's very potent, really powerful, right? I mean, like when I think of my sons, I'm just like, oh, right, I can activate it, and I project it onto the thing that I've picked intuitively, and then when I'm ready, when I'm at that peak of that experience within my physiology, then I overlay whatever I'm struggling with. So maybe you're struggling with a relationship. Maybe you're struggling with pain in the body. And what will happen is you'll see the discrepancy between the full love state and the adversary, that adversary where you're just like, wow, I'm so out of sync with this particular person in my life. And then what you do is just overlay and then just be really sweet to yourself through this whole process, and allow that love then to become in sync as much as you can. And that's a really great trick.
Oh my God. God, we could talk about this forever. So our time is already coming to an end. And I just want to say too, like, how that just resonates, right? I mean, we say that word like it resonates with me because it's a truth. And we feel that truth resonates. You just feel it. So Johanna, thank you so much. So what I want to know, Johanna, the work that she does is phenomenal. And I've had the great pleasure of doing personal work with Johanna. And so I want for people to know, how can they find you? How can they learn more about what you're up to, and how you can help them love their way to their millions?
Exactly. Well, I have a website. It's www.Johanna, Johanna Gardner, Gardner. And you can find my workshops and my retreats, and there's some opportunities for VIP coaching. Get on my wait list. And then I do have a Facebook group. We have 13,000+ people, healers, coaches, beautiful beings that are in that group. And you can find that link on my website, or it's www.chc.johannagardner.com. You can come and join us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a phenomenal group. And like I said, I only bring you guys the best of the best of the best that are people that I've personally worked with, that I give the like Darcy seal of approval, because that's saying a lot. So Johanna, thank you so much. And so everybody, here's to your dream-driven destiny. Here's to all of your wishes fulfilled. I hope that you be, do, and have everything that you've ever wanted to experience on this planet. And I'll be seeing you next time around. Bye, guys.